Hit the gravel.
I appreciate everybody staying for so long, and I certainly want to make sure everybody does get a chance, but I was asked to attend tonight to talk about the Act 13 impact fee that is assigned to unconventional gas wells in Pennsylvania. And I've done this presentation now across Pennsylvania, both at the Pennsylvania State Association of Township Supervisors, to the boroughs, to a variety of municipalities. So I, just want to start a little bit explaining who I am, to give you some background. My name is Joy Ruff. I'm with Dawood Engineering, and what oil and gas is for Dawood is something that kept us on the map. I've been with Dawood since May, and we are a 20-year plus civil engineering firm based in Harrisburg area. We have an office in South Point, which is where I work. And the company was a traditional civil engineering company. Did a lot of highway design, land development. In the middle, 2007, 2008, when the economy kind of took a nosedive and transportation dollars dried up, oil and gas, we transitioned our skill set. We began designing well pads, pipelines, doing environmental services. And what it has meant for our company is keeping the company alive, going from 80-some people to 200-some people. We've expanded into West Virginia, 2 offices in Ohio. We have an additional 3 locations in Pennsylvania. It's meant a tremendous amount to our company. It has been a driver of our growth. Over 50% of our growth in the last couple of years has come from oil and gas. The jobs that we provide in our company are good jobs. They're family-sustaining jobs. And so from a personal perspective, it's what keeps me employed at our company, but it's not the only thing. We don't just do oil and gas. But I do want to set the stage and tell you what oil and gas means for America, because it is a game changer. I know that's kind of a buzzword, but what this means to our national security needs to be said. And we as Americans need to understand what oil and gas means for our national security. We would be having a different conversation if shale wasn't in Pennsylvania. With what is happening in Russia, Putin shutting off that natural gas to Poland, the Ukraine, what is happening over in the Middle East with people being, with these terrorist groups, we would not be in the position of strength that we are without natural gas. That's number one. It's number one to me. But it's also the rebirth of manufacturing. Energy costs are the single driver for manufacturing. Having a low energy cost will bring, we're seeing reshoring coming back. We're seeing a growth in manufacturing jobs in Pennsylvania. It's a feedstock for industry, the natural gas liquids. It's growing the petrochemical industry back in America. We're seeing lower utility costs. If you have people's gas, your utility costs have gone down because of shale availability. We're creating new markets with experts, meaning new business growth, and it's being used as a transportation fuel. So you guys are probably well versed in the different segments of oil and gas. You've got upstream, midstream, downstream. I don't think I need to spend a lot of time with it. Here in Robinson, what you're seeing are some upstream activities. That's where the impact fee comes in. The midstream are the gathering, the transmission line, and the downstream, that's where your utilities come into play. Each single segment has different impacts. Each has a different benefit for us. But I want to talk about what oil and gas has meant in Pennsylvania because of Act 13, understanding we've had over 4,500 wells drilled just between 2010 and 2012. That's private investment of over $30 billion. Private industry is creating this. It's not being heavily subsidized by government. It is private industry creating job creation and investing. Tax revenue, impact fee, and just in 2014, we're based upon Marcellus Shale Coalition numbers, and a survey of their members, over $13 billion in additional investment occurring here in Pennsylvania. And that's everything from leases, the exploration costs, the drilling, pipelines, processing, and royalties. Documented revenue into Pennsylvania, over $2 billion in taxes. Road construction, over $700 million spent by private companies into reinvesting in the roads. Many of them destroyed by the heavy trucks, but then rebuilt to higher standards than what a municipality or even the Commonwealth could do. Royalty payments to the state. And what makes our play different than other plays out west is here we own, the majority of us own our mineral rights, including the state. So if a DCNR or a state-owned entity enters into a lease, that revenue goes to the Commonwealth or to that entity, just like it would if you own land and you enter into a lease. Permitting and fee directly in the Department of Environmental Protection for increased scrutiny, and the impact fee, which we're going to talk a little bit. So Act 13, that was passed in 2012. You guys should be very familiar with Act 13 and the subsequent litigation that occurred. But we're not really here to talk about that. What we are here to talk about are the aspects of the Act that still go forward. It amended the old Oil and Gas Act that hadn't been updated for decades. So what it did do is increased the environmental protections for Pennsylvania residents. It increased a variety of substantial revisions to both surface and subsurface activities. Emergency control response, spill prevention requirements, permitting, siting, air contaminant reporting. It upgraded the regulations overseeing oil and gas activities for the first time in decades. Very much needed. It also did something very unique in Pennsylvania, or across the nation I should say, and that was it assessed an impact fee per well. The impact fee that's assessed by Act 13 does a variety of things. First, it collects all the fee. The PUC collects from every single well spud on unconventional, assesses a fee. Once it collects that, off the top allocations are made to a variety of state agencies. So you've got a fee being paid by industry, and it goes to county conservation districts, it goes to PennDOT, it goes to DEP, it goes to the Fish and Boat Commission, it goes to emergency management, State Fire Commissioner. It also funds the Marcellus Legacy Fund and Housing Affordability Rehabilitation Enhancement Fund. Now I want you to remember the Marcellus Legacy Fund. We're going to come back to that in a minute. Would it be helpful if the lights went down for you guys to see that better? A couple of you not. Can somebody just get the lights so you can see that? Okay, that's not going to help you. I'm not sure where the light is. I apologize. And I can make, if you're interested, I can make this presentation available. But this is a critical piece. So after the fee is collected, you have off the top allocations. The rest is allocated to a formula. This is important because the counties and municipalities receive 60% right off the top. After that off the top, the municipalities receive 60% of the remainder. It's divided kind of in a convoluted way, but 36% go to counties that are hosting an unconventional well. And that is the number of wells divided in the county by the total numbers in the Commonwealth. 37% of that 60 goes to municipalities with unconventional wells. So Robinson, because if you have an unconventional well, you're going to get an impact fee that goes to the municipality, plus you're going to get an impact fee because you're in a county with wells. Additionally, any municipality in a host county, so any municipality in Washington, whether you have a well or not, will receive part of this impact fee. And this is based upon number of road miles and your proximity to a unconventional well. And population. Road miles, population, and proximity to a well. There's a caveat. For some municipalities, you cannot collect over the greater of $500,000 or 50% of your budget for the previous year. And if that would happen, where a municipality would technically be eligible to receive more money, but has hit that windfall gap or that windfall limit, the remainder of the money goes into that housing fund that I mentioned earlier. There are 13 authorized uses. So the state legislature created the impact fee and identified 13 uses that a municipality or county can spend their impact fee money on. And that ranges from the roads to water and sewer, water and stormwater, to emergency preparedness, environmental agriculture preservation programs, preservation, reclamation of subsurface and surface waters, tax reductions, including homestead exclusions, of safe and affordable housing, records management, social services, judicial services. You can put it in your capital reserve fund to hold on to it for one of these uses. Career and technical centers for workforce training in oil and gas, and my particular favorite is local and regional planning initiatives. So the monies that are coming into municipalities for these 13 authorized uses give a lot of flexibility to municipalities, does give you the authorization to put it in a capital reserve fund, and it's up to the municipality to determine how those funds are to be allocated. So anybody receiving the impact fee, whether it's Robinson Township or Washington County, then has to complete a form, a yearly form, and submit that to the PUC, identifying how they spend their money. So let's look a little bit about the monies coming in. We're talking about a revenue source that municipalities have never had. People say it's not a tax. Now, you call it what you want, but it's money being spent or being assessed on a business and allocated according to the state legislature. Impact fee, tax, I don't know how you want to call it, but what we have seen here are a tremendous amount of money coming into municipalities to help them offset the impacts from oil and gas operations. But we're also seeing some municipalities receiving a tremendous windfall that will never see any impacts. Impacts on oil and gas vary very much, but Donald Borough is going to reap an impact fee based upon the amount of drilling and the activity that happens in Washington and happens within 5 linear miles of that municipality. So will Charleroi. So will City of Washington. So these are new revenues that are coming into our communities because of oil and gas and being distributed because of Act 13.